dogs followed me home. Well, I got some bad news. Dr. Fur has been recalled. They determined it to be 100% dog food.
Oh, Steve! I paid $20 for that stuff.
So you got taken. But this stuff is the real thing.
Insta hair?
You betcha.
Let's rock.
Thanks, Dad.
Can I get a whooping?
Whoa,
No Man presents, live from the nudie bar, the Married with Children podcast. And here are your hosts, Jerry, Justin, and Al.
Hey guys, it's the Married with Children podcast, and we're bald.
But not beautiful.
We're not beautiful, no. Absolutely not. We are in the nudie bar, we're shooting pool, and we're doing a podcast. I am just so happy to be back because we have a full panel tonight. Okay, guys, so first let me introduce the guy who, by the time his skin clears up, his hair will be falling out. Jerry, what's up, Jerry?
Have you seen my luscious hair? I'm never going bald.
Hey, Justin, you don't mind that we play around with Jerry, do you?
No.
I mean, that's what we have him for, right?
Right.
And I am also with the guy who, hey, listen, man, I got some Insta hair, Justin, so bottoms up, man.
But this doesn't taste like you're supposed to drink it.
Why are you drinking it?
You said bottoms up. Who says
There's a
bottoms
point.
up if you're not supposed to drink it?
I'm sorry.
He's got to point out.
I know. That was stupid. Okay, I'm sorry. I will think ahead next time. So, guys, we are reviewing The Bald and the Beautiful. This is Season 3, Episode 7. The director was John Scuglia.
Sorry, what was that last name again?
Sgueglia. I did the best I could do. And the writers are Jules Dennis, Richard Mueller, and this is a jam-packed episode, and it is about, and this is one of those, like, synopses that I just want to kill myself. Desperate Al and Steve put their heads together, seeking solutions to impending baldness when Steve begins to notice his receding hairline, whereas Al doesn't care at all. After unsuccessfully trying some hair tonic for themselves, Steve tries joining a club for bald men called Bald American Dudes, or BAD. Al brings along with him, and brings Al along with him, who holds their latest meeting at the shoe store.
Man, the synopsis I have in front of me
are weird.
Dude, the synopsis I have in front of me is way better.
Okay, let's have two synopses of this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, because it's like 3 sentences.
No, I'm serious.
Okay, Steve thinks he's going bald after he finds a newspaper clipping for an anti-baldness cure given to him by He therefore joins a club for bald and balding men, taking Al with him. The only bad thing is they should take out the part.
Right. Yeah.
Other than that, that would have been perfect. Mine's on the Married with Children wiki.
When they say, like, you know, they join a support group for bald men, like, they make it sound like that's like the main point of the episode.
Yeah, it's like 3 minutes at the end.
It's like just like a throwaway.
That's great. Yeah, they really got the idea when they watched this. All right, guys. So, and real quick before we start the review, I'm going to drop some edumacation here. Now, this is called The Bald and the Beautiful. Obviously, it's, you know, the title of this show is a play off The Bold and the Beautiful. Now, this is educational because, you know, for those who never watched the show, you won't even believe this, what I'm about to tell you. So this show it premiered March 23rd, 1987, and it was like a sister show of The Young and the Restless. Now, since its premiere, the show has become the most watched soap in the world, with an audience of an estimated 26.2 million viewers. And as of 2010, it continues to hold the second place position in the Nielsen ratings for a daytime drama. So basically what you're learning is that the Bold and the Beautiful is still going on today. Believe it or not.
You were great, Al.
Leave me alone.
Oh, come on, Al. You know, I really, really believe that if you practiced once in a while, you could actually get good at sex. And, honey, you don't have to hit your head.
It's the one part I enjoy, Peg. It keeps my mind off what the rest of my body is going through.
Yeah, well, take it from me. It's not going through much.
Why did I ever agree to this Tuesday night sex?
And that's it for Monday Night Football.
It isn't Tuesday, Peg. You've done a bad thing. You must be punished.
Oh, Al, I just wanted it to be closer to your shower night.
Pretty brazen when you're all satisfied, aren't you?
Starts off with a bang. We learned something that I'm sure shocked everybody. I mean, my jaw was on the floor when I heard the arrangement Al and Peg have. Al and Peg come down from upstairs, and apparently there's this deal that they worked out that I knew nothing about. That they have sex every Tuesday. Now,
It almost sounds like it's a recent thing, though.
right, so do you think from here on in Peg gets 1 sex point a week?
No. We have to clearly see it, like, it has to be directly referenced.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, she gets one
Or else I'm
here.
not giving a point. She gets one here. You were surprised, but I was more surprised that she said that with practice, Al could be good at sex.
Yeah, she's being very optimistic. So, Peg's smoking a cigarette, so clearly she enjoyed it on some level. But she tricks him, and it's actually Monday Night Football, and he just missed it, which is weird because that would imply that it's like 10:30 or 11:30 at night, because Monday Night Football starts really late.
It would also imply that Al was not watching football, was not in tune with football at that
Yeah,
point.
Right.
And wouldn't he have just watched football the day before on Sunday?
That's true.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. How could he forget? He watched it all day.
Maybe he forgot. Maybe he thought yesterday was Monday because he watched football. I mean, that's still not good.
Kind of, yeah.
I'm sort of buying that. But in 1989, the Bears were still coming off their, like, the huge heights of 1985. I'm not sure McMahon was still there at that point, but the Bears were still sort of a big deal, and we didn't know.
Vince McMahon?
No, Jim McMahon. And we didn't know that they wouldn't ever win again. There was still that sort of hope. So,
If they lose to the Dolphins, are you going to kill yourself?
well, it's funny you say that. The Bears, the only reason they didn't have an undefeated season is because they lost to the Dolphins in week 13. So that interrupted, and if they didn't do that, they would have had an undefeated season in 1985. So it's weird that you say that.
Oh. Well, I just know that my dad's a Dolphins fan, and he tells me that he went to a game the other day, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go watch my favorite team lose," but they ended up winning.
Just because I screamed does not mean I'm satisfied. I was screaming because my hair was caught in your watch. I didn't wake you, did I?
You haven't yet.
You can see between Al's legs. You can clearly see the white of his whitey tighties.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Or at least I could
Really?
on my 4K. You could see some white in that whitey tighty.
We gotta get a screenshot of that on our Facebook group page. Guys, join the Facebook group page.
Yeah. So okay. So one or two things. One, they were really, really white, which makes me believe that
Someone's doing the laundry.
someone finally did the laundry, which is like 4 episodes ago. How long was it?
Well,
that
she
we
won
were
a
with
damn
Elvis?
washing machine on How Do I Love Thee. Why is she not doing the laundry is the real question.
Because she didn't have the coins.
Ah,
She needs quarters.
yeah, right.
But I was watching it and I was like, nowadays you see underwear on TV and a lot of times it's played as a joke and everything. But I'm not sure if back then that was a common thing, if that was something you would see or not.
I don't know. I don't think they meant to do that though. I mean, it's not obvious enough that me and Justin saw it.
Yeah, I saw it. I
Well, you look there on guys, we don't.
I knew that was coming.
I just pay more attention because I am dedicated to the show.
I'm sorry.
And I sacrifice.
Oh, I just had sex. Steve, what do you want?
Yo, is Al saying, I just had sex, what do you want, Steve? Not like, what's up with their awkward open the door and say something about sex?
Okay.
Go, like, this happens a lot.
Yeah, we could do this all over again. I swear, we could just keep on stitching these openers together and have a whole conversation.
Yeah. Is that one not awkward? I just had sex, Steve. What do you want?
That's awkward. Not as awkward as the one we won't bring up.
Yeah,
but...
Al, I'm horny. What are you going to do about it? Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to bring it up. Okay, so Steve is like just, his whole world just came to an end. He opens the door. He's totally distraught.
I think I'm in trouble, Al. I need help. See, I was out walking alone. I couldn't face being around people, so I came here. Al, just let me start at the beginning, right?
Jerry, how did you feel at this moment before you found out what it was? What were you... I mean, a million things must have ran through your head.
Unfortunately, I knew the name of the episode, so but it threw me off because I thought this was going to be about Al going bald because he's clearly showing signs, and I've never once thought about Steve going bald, nor Steve caring about his hair that much.
Okay. So that threw you off.
I went to work today. Feeling good, feeling spry. The bank was crowded, so I sent a teller on a break. I was on top of the world. And I found this on my desk.
Tuna, 3 for $1.49. Well, it happens. Get on with the rest of your life, Steve.
Turn it over, Al.
A minoxidil. Hope for the hairless.
What? You know what this is? This is the stuff they give guys who are going bald.
What?
Going bald. Now, why would somebody give that to me?
Well, I don't know. Let me see your head. Ah.
Wait. You see something?
My reflection.
Or then it's true. It's starting.
Well, that's like saying Betty Davis is just starting.
You mean you saw this and didn't tell me?
My son didn't care.
You're awfully cavalier about this, you know. Old Man Time's been doing a little mowing on your head, too.
I know.
He's no.
Sure, you've seen my wife, my house, my kids. I'm lucky my hands haven't fallen off.
Were you baffled because...
Well, yeah, because this is one of those things, and TV shows do this sometimes where they'll, like...
Push something?
They'll ask you to pretend that you, like, they won't show it on the camera. They'll just ask you, like, just roll with it that he's balding, because, like, clearly he's not.
Right. And the weirdest line had to be when he goes, it's minoxidil, Al. That's what they give guys who are going bald. And then he goes... let me see. And he puts his head down and he goes, it's a parking lot or something like that, or it's a graveyard.
Yeah.
Like what does that, how is his head a graveyard?
Like, he was just messing with him.
Yeah, I thought that too, but I thought maybe they just didn't show a bald spot in the back, because later on, even Marcy, I don't want to give, well, it's not really giving anything away, but, you know, he talks to her about it, and she says, right, and she says she's known that since he proposed, and it's like, what are you talking about? Then I started to really focus. I said, well, maybe his hairline is just sort of getting higher on his forehead. Like, I guess that doesn't look like the forehead of a 20-year-old guy. So I could see that it's slowly going back a little, but this is ridiculous. That we're supposed to be watching an episode about a bald guy, and it's Steve, and that's why I love what Al says to these guys when he's in this meeting. I think it was sort of justified there. So I'm not going to harp on it or take away points, because I think Al basically summed it up.
Yeah, that is fair right there, because if that would not have happened at the end of the episode, then you can make an argument that it's one of those, because I've seen this before. I have trouble conjuring up any references that I can make to other shows, but I've seen shows where, like, they don't show the audience directly, and, like, they just want you to assume or, like, to just believe that it's going on. But when you actually, like, look at this episode, it could be just that, like, you know, because he saw that coupon or whatever it was, he got paranoid, which got Al paranoid, which Al actually does have some receding baldness type thing going on, but they both got paranoid, and then and Al wasn't even worried until those girls came in and said something.
Yeah, he didn't even care until it affects women.
It's more like in their head built up more than it actually is happening, I guess.
And I love how Al, that's perfect, that it doesn't really matter until it affects your manhood or whatever you want to say, like your, that your status with women or whatever. But I misquoted. They do say graveyard eventually, but I think it's when they're doing the doctor.
No, I think Al and I think Steve bends over and shows him his head.
And he says, "I see my reflection." That's what he said.
And then Al does it to him. Like they both see each other's hair. Yeah.
Well, that's later on, though.
Yeah, still later on, right. So, okay. Well, let's get to the thing. So he has the thing. He says, somebody left this at my desk. And it's tuna for three for $1.49. Now, Justin, if you would like to tell us how much they spent on tuna back then, you can. But the point, and then he goes, no, Al, the other side. And it's minoxidil. It's an advertisement for minoxidil. I think most people know Rogaine more than minoxidil, but those are the two big hair recovery applications that you put into your hair. What minoxidil is supposed to do is basically it widens blood vessels and opens potassium channels to allow more oxygen, blood, and nutrients into the follicles. And when those follicles, it actually makes kind of like the thinner hair follicles even fall out, and they're replaced by thicker hair follicles. So that's how this works. But even today, it's totally farcical because it doesn't even work where there's a lot of hair loss. Like if you have that ring around your head like Hulk Hogan.
Dude, that thing is bad.
Oh, he looks like Bozo the I can't believe he ran around like that. And it's so funny because this guy has $800 million and he couldn't get hair. At least pull it from the back of your head and put it on the top. Do something here because he could have started helping it when he was in Rocky III. He looked fine.
I can't believe that guy ran around like that.
He just let it go. And I'm like, do you see your head? When you look in the mirror, you really go, that's good. And you walk out in the ring? Come on, man. It's just the most ridiculous. It's ludicrous. So it does. Let's just say Hogan took minoxidil and slathered it over the whole top of his head. It would not grow back. It doesn't work like that. It's only where you have little bald spots, on the top, where Jewish guys wear beanies and stuff. That's where it comes back, or maybe in the front a little. And it only really.
Did you call it a beanie?
What is that called? Oh, yarmulke.
A yarmulke.
And all the tests that they really conduct, it's all done on younger guys who just experienced hair loss in the last 5 years. So it's all nonsense. And if it was real, don't you think we would all really hear about it and hear tons of people we even know talking about how all their hair, and know people whose hair came back? Who knows anyone whose hair came back?
Yeah.
One of the greatest television episodes who tackled this in a great way, man. It's called The Simpsons did it, and it's The Simpsons did it.
Of course they did.
Yeah, of course. And it's called Simpson and Delilah. And, of course, that's a reference to Samson and Delilah, the girl who cut the guy's hair off and he lost all of his powers or whatever. And that's a great, amazing reference because Homer, they couldn't use minoxidil, I guess, so they had to say demoxinil as a spoof of it. And Homer does it, and he grows hair, and all of a sudden he moves up in the company. He's like the top guy under Mr. Burns and stuff. And he's holding, he's like a speaker and stuff like that. And everyone's listening to him. And then Bart goes to put the stuff on his face to grow a goatee, and then Homer finds him and he drops it and he spills it, and then all of Homer's stuff is gone and he has no more money to get it, so then his hair completely falls out the next day, and then he goes to do another speaking thing and everyone's like, oh my god, does this bald guy really think he knows me? And they completely dismiss him and they just get up and walk away, and he's like, and then Homer gets completely demoted back to his old job. And it's the craziest episode, but it's great.
That's an early episode, isn't it?
Yeah, that's season.
Because I've seen that one.
Yeah, season 2, episode 2. Yeah, it was really amazing. So that's another great hair loss episode to watch.
How can you accept this? If all our hair falls off, our wives won't want us anymore.
Well, there you go. Look on the bright side.
I happen to love my wife, Al. Oh, God, what am I going to tell Marcy? What if she leaves me? Who'll have me?
So these two hot blondes walk in the shoe store, and Al's alone working there because poor Luke is gone. And they just want... Well, he could tell that they're hot for some reason. Did you guys realize that?
I think it's because like the time from the door opening to just standing there had been no screaming. The earth had not shook. You know, so he
got
could
a
tell.
sense about those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said there was like a sea breeze when they walked in.
A sea breeze. Oh, hello. Well, I see you're not fat and don't have an attitude, so you can't be looking for me, but how can I help you?
We just came in to see if we could get some change. So many places have a rule that you have to buy something.
Well, that's just for the homely.
Say, didn't you used to play football for the Bears?
Me? Well, yeah.
I knew it. You just have those rugged good looks of an athlete in his prime.
Yeah. That never goes away, does it? You know, if it wasn't for this darn bum knee, I'd still be on those Wheaties boxes like you remember me. But let me get you your change. Damn this leg.
As he walks away, these two girls just start talking out loud about, do you really know that guy from the Bears? And she's like, no, I just have a soft spot for guys who are losing their hair. Like, remember that episode, well, we're trying to forget it, Peggy Sue Got Work? Remember how, like, the whole episode was based around her taping Oprah and Phil, and suddenly everyone around her just kept talking about Oprah and Phil?
Yeah.
And VCRs, believe it or not. Let's go buy VCR. Let's buy two. This is like the same thing. Like, Al happens to talk about losing his hair for the first time in his life with Steve, and the next day he overhears these two girls talking about sympathy for guys losing their hair.
You've seen that guy play football?
No. I've just got a soft spot in my heart for guys who are losing their hair.
Did you ever sleep with a bald guy?
Oh, God, no.
Yep.
Thanks, handsome.
Yeah, right.
The only reason I accept this is because I've had this happen a few times in my life where I didn't know about something, and then all of a sudden I know about it, and it's everywhere. Like, or I run into it like right away.
Right, I've done that. Yeah, so I'm just saying it's funny. But like, where did these girls learn to whisper? On a helicopter? Do they see this guy standing 2 feet away from them?
On a helicopter.
Maybe they think going bald also means you're going deaf.
Yeah, you're just old. Everything's going. So Al starts checking his hair on the foot mirror.
On the floor. Yeah, the mirror.
So you can look down in the mirror to look at your... Or you can use it for what Luke used it for, to look up dresses.
No, that's what I'm talking about.
Mecca is that way, Al.
Hey, how you doing, Steve?
Steve walks in. He says, Al, Mecca is that way, because Al looks like he was bowing and praying.
Yeah, because Muslims pray towards Mecca, because that's the holy city where Muhammad was born, which is their prophet.
Okay. Uh-huh. So where would you... How do they know which way is Mecca? Is it like a...
It would be like just knowing... It's in Saudi Arabia, so you just go to that general direction. They all know, trust me. I work with... like, we have a huge Muslim population here. I work with tons of Kurdish people, and they know. They know exactly which way to pray. I have seen it many times.
So they look it up, they look at a map ahead of time and just know the general direction. Okay.
I guess you just need a compass, right?
Yeah, right. Like, where is it on a compass?
Well, no, if you would pray, it would be like praying towards the Middle East. So, like, wherever, what would that be? East?
East.
It'd be, yeah, Middle East, yeah. See, in America, you would just, pray towards the East. but it's more important over there because they actually do pray towards Mecca.
Well, Mecca is actually in the northeast, so if you would have a compass, it would be almost directly in the middle of northeast.
Yeah. Well, we'll never know because we're not allowed to enter Mecca. So.
Really?
Yeah, non-Muslims are prohibited from entering the city.
Oh, well. I guess I'll have to stay here in Jersey.
Yep.
I just ran into two girls who thought I was a football player. Anyhow, I came down to get some minoxidil, but you need a prescription. All I could get over the counter was this stuff, Dr. Fur.
I guess he just doesn't want to go to his doctor about it.
Yeah, the less people you admit it to.
Yeah.
I mean, come on now.
Now, he gets this stuff called Dr. Fur. Now, when you hear that name, what do you think of?
Porno on PBS? That's what I think of.
Huh. Right. Well, yeah. No, it's a hair growth, apparently.
Time to feed and seed. Ooh, I can feel it working.
It smells like dog food.
If I thought it would grow hair, I'd put your socks on my head. You want some?
No.
Al, says, I am not putting that in my hair. And he looks over towards the window of his shoe store, and he sees those two hot blondes walking with probably the ugliest guy with the ugliest hair I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, boy.
But he had a lot of it.
He did have a lot of it.
Right. Al rubs it in his hair. It smells like dog food, and it's called Dr. Fur. But that's fine. Al rubs it in his hair because at this point he's feeling the repercussions of hair loss, I guess. So the next scene, Buck is licking his head clean.
I love Buck in this episode just because he has two really good gags. This one and there's another scene coming up, but just I like when they incorporate him into visual gags.
Yeah.
Yep. No, yeah, he's always every time he has a gag, it really pays off. Like the Santa shoe. What was the one that topped it for you, Jerry?
Oh man, it was just in an episode.
Was it All in the Family when they said they're famished and he ran upstairs?
No, there's one that happened this season that I was like, this is him with the sign, the dog who watched Lassie. Oh, that was so good.
Yep. So why does Peg think a sombrero is a condom?
That I don't know.
I don't know. Hat, people call them hats sometimes.
That is true. People call them Jimmy hats.
Oh.
Maybe she thinks they were having they were role playing Fiesta or something.
There's so many nicknames for condoms, so I wouldn't be surprised if sombrero is one.
I wouldn't know. I don't wear them.
Yeah, neither do I. I think I wore it twice in my life.
Yeah.
And she thought it was ribbed for her pleasure. Sorry, I just had to do that joke. So Steve took Marcy to an Elmer Fudd retrospective.
That was I'm sorry, that was hilarious. That line was he kept asking me if I think he's sexy.
Yeah,
that's so good. I love the Looney Tunes.
Now, is he the one who stutters?
Yeah, he's the one that told the hunter who stutters.
Oh no, Porky the Pig is the one who stutters.
Well, Elmer Fudd stutters, but I guess it's really only in his laugh.
Oh, okay.
Because he laughs.
And he's the one who always wants to shoot Bugs Bunny, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's rabbit season.
It's wabbit season.
Oh, don't worry, Mars. Strange behavior in men doesn't necessarily mean anything. The smallest things upset them. You know, their favorite team loses, the car doesn't start, you lose your cigarette in his pudding.
Well, I'm telling you, Steve has something on his mind.
So what are you supposed to do about it? Care? Come on. He's got a mother. She broke him, let her fix him. We have enough trouble keeping ourselves happy in a marriage. Come on, let's go shopping and really give him something to worry about.
Yeah, that's just weird.
How can a girl keep you happy? What are the 3 simple ways?
I feel like you're setting me up to get...
All right, I'll ask Justin then. What 3 ways? What do girls? Because I would think it's feeding you on some level. I mean, because girls cook better than guys. It's not a sexist thing.
Not anymore.
Damn.
What are you saying?
I'm saying that, like, typically when I meet a girl that is my age or younger...
Oh, they don't cook good.
They don't cook anymore. Like, I'm always the better cooker. And I'm not great, but, like, I like to cook. I think it's a huge problem in America. I'm just saying. Not even with just females, but men, too. Like, people don't know how to cook anymore. It's sad.
I gotta say, my wife's mother cooks better than her. You're right.
Alex, your wife should know how to cook.
She does. She does good. But her mom has a certain flavor to her food that just seems different.
Well, you need to send her back for like a week-long boot camp.
Yeah, I tried so many times when we were dating. I was like, can you just hang out with your mom one night when she's making my favorite dish and just stand there and videotape it? Do whatever you gotta do. But just get it in our house, please. And she never made the time. So she makes a version of her mom's food, but it's not,
I don't eat most of the stuff Reese makes because there's no meat in it. So
yeah, right.
Though she does make ball and manicotti.
The 3 ways to keep a guy happy really is just food, sex, and give him free time. And I think other than that,
I think you nailed it. Honestly, I think those are the 3 most important things. And honestly, like the free time is a huge thing. Like a lot of people don't, and it's not even just for you, but like for like the female too. Like I think I see couples sometimes who literally, like, you don't refer to him as Steve, right? It's Steve and Angel, or
right.
I just made up 2 names, but so yeah, like I think that sometimes people spend like a little too much time together. And it's not good for either of them.
No, it is not. It's inhibiting your growth.
You know what's weird, though? Reese absolutely needs no time to herself. But she's very, very good at giving me my time. She'll usually use that time to play video games. So it works out because she can go play video games and I can go watch my movies or work on whatever podcast I'm doing.
You podcast?
No, not well. But she needs no time to herself whatsoever. I don't get it. I can't comprehend it.
Yeah.
My wife doesn't need it. But she, you know what it is? She works nights. It really just works out.
Damn dogs followed me home. Well, I got some bad news. Dr. Fur has been recalled. They determined it to be 100% dog food.
Steve!
And, after the dogs chased Steve into Al's house.
And Buck stole the bottle.
Yeah, and Buck stole the bottle. Which Al does not go after once he hears the news.
Which, by the way, Al could have got his money back. He didn't lose out on that money. If an item is recalled, you don't even need a receipt for it. It doesn't have to be new. It could be used. As long as there's some still left in it, you can take it back to any store that sold it and get your money back.
I paid $20 for that stuff.
So you got taken.
So, yeah, it turns out it's 100% dog food. Al was right the whole time. Now, Steve has Insta hair.
But this stuff is the real thing.
Insta hair?
You betcha. You use this slime twice a day, and in 2 weeks, Sasquatch City. Not so fast, Al. This may not work on you. See, the doctor I got it from in the bar wouldn't sell it to me until he tested me first. Sit down.
Yeah, did he happen to grab you and tell you to cough?
Do you want to know if you're an Insta-hair candidate or not?
Go ahead, give me the test.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. My hair burned too.
Yeah, good. Just stay there 1 second, Steve. I got a little test for you.
Don't you see? Where there's pain, there's life. You should know that better than anyone. Your follicles are alive. Yeah.
And the guy in the bar wouldn't sell it to him until he passed the test. So that's how you know it's totally legit.
I like that this had a gullibility test to make sure that you weren't going to come back to him and claim it didn't work because
you're a candidate. I love that. So he lights a match, blows it, and puts it on Al's head. Al is not having that. He is like freaking out. Steve says, "Oh no, it's good because that means where there's pain, there's life." And Al goes, "Yeah," and he runs back and gets a baseball bat. And I thought Al was really gonna hit him. I was really excited for this. And I'm sure that would have been Jerry's like, oh, his heart was probably about to.
I was on the edge of my seat.
You were fearing for Steve's life.
Tears were welling up. I was truly terrified.
Bottoms up, Al. Al, you're not supposed to drink it. It goes on your head.
What the hell did you say bottoms up for?
Don't worry. Let me check something here. Can you still see me?
Yeah.
Then you're one of the 5%. Splash some on your head.
So Kelly believes that old people don't need hair anyway. So
also, she has her jacket on that I love.
She has that again, yeah?
That jacket, dude, they're keeping up with it. She is still repping that jacket.
Hey, are any of you guys bald?
I was gonna actually bring that up. Like, I don't think, like, you can sometimes tell if you're going to get bald, but like I don't think that I am. Like, it doesn't feel like I am. It's never anything that I've worried about. I think it's a generation. Like, I think that each generation is like less and less bald. Like when I was a kid, you know, like a little kid, like everybody's dad was bald. I swear to God.
No,
and
my
like
grandfather.
now I don't really see like a ton of people that are like,
You're right.
you know, in 40s, 50s, all bald and stuff.
No.
Not as many.
Are any of your dads or grandfathers bald? Because my grandfather's like 75, still full of head of hair. My dad's still got a full head of hair, so I don't really have much worries for me losing my hair.
You know what? My grandfather has full hair. His dad had full hair, and my other side grandfather had full hair too. I don't think I have anybody in my direct family that balded. My grandmother's dad didn't bald either.
The most common cause of hair loss is it's a hereditary condition. It's called male pattern baldness, and believe it or not, females go bald too. There is female pattern baldness.
Oh yes, I know.
I know.
Yeah, and it usually occurs gradually and in predictable patterns, like receding hairlines or bald spots, but mostly baldness is, I think it's associated with male sex hormones and stuff like that. It just makes hair growth, it just doesn't renew with the cycles, and it eventually stops and dies out. And a lot of it, they say, is like your mother's father, you're going to have his hair. My mom's dad had his hair until he died. So I am actually still good. My hairline, my forehead, I think it's a normal size forehead. Nobody's ever said I had a 5 head. So I don't think it's really going away or anything. And I definitely don't have any bald spots in the back top of my head either. So,
did you ever meet one of those kids? Sorry to cut you off, but did you ever meet one of those kids when you're like, 20 and they have like a really bad receding hairline? Like,
oh, yeah.
And you're just like, you start feeling like, that's like not going to slow down. and you just feel bad for him. I had a kid at work who we hired, and he was like 20, and he had one real bad. And I was like, yikes. Like, this guy's going to be in trouble soon.
I'm just like, better you than me, pal.
Yeah.
That's about it, man. I don't say too much more to the guy. But that's what it mostly is. So if her dad has good hair, then you're good. I'm just concerned with my gray hairs. I have gray hairs on the side of my head, but the cool thing is, with today's modern haircuts, the fade thing that's seemingly still popular, like, it's weird, like, culture just sort of stopped in life. Like, there used to be such, like, decade defining haircuts, and that seemed to stop in the 2000s. Like, everyone's afraid to do anything that's not acceptable anymore, so we could all sort of do the same safe haircut and get away with it, and that's like, nothing is progressing.
I thought we just ran out of ideas. Like, how much can you do with hair?
I don't know. Like, you can do a lot, I guess. Like, I don't know. Like, I typically get like a fade as well. It's kind of like beards now, I guess. Like, beards are kind of the thing.
Yeah. Well, I just grow a goatee to cover most of my face because I look better when it's covered.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. That's the only reason I have a goatee. I'm not actually that into the look.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kelly believes that old people don't need hair, so I'm as old as Al basically. So I guess she doesn't look at me anymore.
Probably not. But I got a problem with this scene. But when Bud puts it on his head, he doesn't react at all.
React to what?
To the burning.
Did they? I don't remember that.
Al got a baseball bat over it.
Oh,
no, that was a match, dude.
What? Oh, wait. They put a match to his head? How did I miss that?
Oh, my God.
What?
Holy
I thought he put it on. I thought he put the liquid on his head.
I'm glad I explained it all earlier, too. So 2 times you were bombarded with this information and it sunk in 0. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. I blame my cat. He is not leaving me alone today.
I'll let him laugh, Al. In 10 years, his head will be as barren as your lawn.
What do you mean?
Well, Bud, hair is hereditary. So is hair loss.
So, you mean by the time his skin clears up, his hair will be falling out? Oh, Bud, my poor sexless, hairless brother. I'm so happy for you.
Dad, what did you have me for? A biological experiment? I mean, I was just getting used to being poor, and now this.
Now, easy, Bud. Stress causes baldness. Relax. Who cares if you're bald? You can always make money selling flowers at airports. I'll lend you one of my dresses.
Yeah, give me the one that says, "Put 'em here, boys."
You know, it's going to be so much fun at school tomorrow with all the kids running around chanting, "Bud, Bud, head like a spud."
Dad, what am I gonna do? I mean, am I gonna lose just a little like you? Or am I gonna be like Mr. Rhodes?
If you would have said, am I going to lose hair like you did or he did at work, but you said little hair for Al, but then you make it sound like it's much worse for Steve. And I'm like, Steve's like really, like his hair is pretty good.
Now, would you have went for that joke? I mean, they're clearly like ramming this down our throats. It's almost to the point where it's like, guys, enough.
Oh, I got it.
What?
He's getting back at Steve because Steve, I think he was messing with Steve because Steve told him he was going to lose his hair too when he was like, oh, no, your dad lost his hair. It's hereditary. You're going to lose too. So I think he wanted to mess with Steve.
I don't know. But
Bud's that kind of person, and we've already said he's quick-witted.
Yeah, but you're really trying to sell this. I don't know if that was the intent. I really believe that they're just doing what they've been doing the whole episode and trying to make us believe Steve's bald. Like, I'm surprised David Garrison didn't read this, and he was like, well, guys, do you think we should just make this about Al? And maybe he says, I'm losing a little on top? Like, why are you making this about me? It's almost like having an episode that Steve's getting fat.
They went a little too far with it, but they're definitely trying to play on Steve having more insecurities with how he looks, because he's always cared more about how he looks than Al does. So they're definitely playing on that. But there's just certain times where they take it too far and it's no longer believable. Like, there's no way they would have let him into bald, beautiful.
Yeah, they'd say, get out of here.
Yeah, there's no way they would have let him in there. There's no way that Bud's joke would have worked unless he was trying to mess with Steve. And as you pointed out, I'm stretching to make that happen.
Right. I don't think they thought that.
I don't know. It's one of those things where, like, I think that you're supposed to pretend a little bit, but kind of when you brought up the fact that the end with Al where he's like, we're not really bald type thing.
Right.
I think that it kind of goes I'm thinking of it the other way now, where I'm thinking that, they were paranoid.
Okay.
Just like, because Bud even gets paranoid based off of a lie.
Yeah, I guess it is something to be paranoid about.
We already pointed out that Steve's being paranoid. We're talking more about like some of the lines they wrote are pushed too far and make no sense. Him saying that, like Bud saying that, am I going to lose a little hair like Dad, or am I going to look like
Mr. Rhodes?
Yeah, so we have to basically we need to figure out if this is a fantasy, meaning that like they like are going bald, but we just don't see it. Like in the storyline, they are actually going bald, like even Steve, and we just don't see it because how would you do that? Because then you'd have to make Steve bald every single episode. You know what I mean? Or is it to where everybody's cracking jokes? You know, that's just part of the cracking joke nature. Like it's kind of confusing. Like
I don't think
that's
it's
the
either one
problem
of
you have
those.
with. What do you think it is?
No, I'm going to go with Justin's idea that I think that they're just both paranoid. And I think the thing that tells us this, the clear sign, is that he was given a coupon and he thinks he's going bald.
We already agreed he's paranoid, but what JP just said is that either this is a fantasy episode, which makes no sense, because he's right. Then they would have to do him being bald every single thing,
episode, right.
And that wouldn't work. I don't think it was 100% paranoid. The question is not the paranoid or any of that. It's, are they going too far with the jokes to push it down our throats when the jokes don't work, when we can clearly see his head?
Well, but that leads back to the question: are we supposed to just believe that he's bald, that he's balding?
No,
like,
we're supposed to believe
if
that
we
he's
are
being
supposed
paranoid.
to believe, but okay, so then if we're supposed to believe that he's paranoid, then I guess what it would be is that the jokes.
It works then?
I think the jokes are bad writing. I think at first when Al says I can see my reflection, that is obviously him messing with Steve.
Okay.
But Al gets paranoid after the girls diss on him, and he goes to the paranoia with him. Then the only thing, oh my God, we just figured it out. It's the paranoia. Bud's joke comes after the paranoia. They're all feeding into Steve being as bad as it is because they're all being paranoid. That's how these jokes work, with him saying it's a graveyard. Am I going to be like you? The jokes are pushed a little too far, but it's all paranoia. It's not fantasy. It's just slightly poorly written jokes to push the paranoia.
I don't know if they're slightly poorly written though, because if obviously if they're not actually bald, like we know that as the audience, right? And the only one that's kind of balding is Al, but in their heads they are. So how would the jokes be wrong if in their heads?
I didn't say they were wrong. I said they're pushing it a little too far with the jokes. Like Bud's joke is the best example of one that's pushed too far.
Dad, what am I gonna do? I mean, am I gonna lose just a little like you? Or am I gonna be like Mr. Rhodes?
Yeah.
The skeleton, the graveyard Al says, is kind of believable because at that point he's fallen fully into the paranoia because that's them checking each other. But Bud hasn't hit that full thing. I don't think Bud fully comes into that until Kelly does the dog joke.
So what you're saying is because Bud says, bald like you or more or worse like Mr. Rhodes or whatever, and as an audience we see that Al is clearly worse than Mr. Rhodes, that the joke is stupid. Right?
Yes, unless
I feel you on that, actually.
Unless you believe that what I think is that Bud is making fun of Steve because Steve told him he's going bald too. And it's him like getting back, and then it backfires because
you know what I'm gonna say?
What?
I'm gonna say that Bud's mind is too preoccupied to even get there. I think that he's so overwhelmed with his own hair loss that he would not even think to be witty and take a jab at Steve.
I think he would, because I don't think he takes it serious. I don't think he takes it serious until his dad tells him, yeah, this is going to happen to you, which happens after he makes the joke at Steve. That's when he sits down and
if he's just messing with Steve, then it does make sense. That's a fine joke.
That's what I'm saying. but Alex is saying I'm stretching to make that happen.
Yeah, I think that you're out of order. I have a feeling that he was told it's hereditary before he makes that joke.
He was told it was hereditary. He didn't take it serious until after he makes the joke, and his dad confirms it because he believes his dad.
All right.
I'd have to re-watch the sequences of events there to really know for sure.
I'll let him laugh, Al. In 10 years, his head will be as barren as your lawn.
What do you mean?
Well, Bud, hair is hereditary. So is hair loss.
Dad, what am I gonna do? I mean, am I gonna lose just a little like you? Or am I gonna be like Mr. Rhodes?
Bud, sit down.
I was thinking while we were talking here, when I was saying like fantasy, right? Like this is an example, right? I can't remember what show it was, but there was a show, Fallen Teenagers, and one of the teenagers was going on a date, and it was like one of these sitcoms from like, you know, the 90s, and one of the teenagers was going on a date, and they got a giant pimple before the date, and the episode was like about the pimple, like trying to deal with it and stuff, but the audience couldn't see it because like for whatever reason they didn't put the makeup on, so it was like that you just pretended that the pimple was there the whole episode, like it was like one of those things that you just kind of like ignored, I guess.
That's weird.
You know,
that's
it never did a close up or anything of her face. You know, it was always far away, and she would just point to her face and be like, "Look at it," you know, and then the other characters would react like, "Oh man!" Like,
what's funny you say that because Kelly refers to Bud zits all the time, and
that like that, yeah.
Yeah, he has a completely perfect complexion, so it is a very, I know it's weird saying that about a young boy, but I mean it is what it is. So like that is weird. You're right, they do that. But yeah, like you guys alluded to, Kelly does this insanely great joke where she happens to be again brushing Buck's hair, pulls the fur ball out of the brush, and then she is a genius. As stupid as she is, she's a comic genius because she prompts Bud to come over and sit by her or whatever, and she says, "You're not losing your hair," and grabs him by the back of the head and pulls out the dog hair and shows Bud, and he goes screaming and running. Like, that is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
When I first seen this scene, I wasn't thinking of anything that was going to be the joke, and I was like, "Oh, look at Kelly being nice brushing Buck." And then I was like, yeah, I should have known that it was for a different reason.
I immediately started looking for the angle, and I was like, why is she petting Buck? Like, this is
I
about
thought it was
hair,
going
and
to be
she's
that
combing
Buck
hair.
like grew a bunch of hair or something, so that it like it was funny because it's like it didn't work on the people, but it worked on the dog.
I can definitely see that. I was immediately just like, I don't know where this is going. There's got to be an angle here. But yeah, that actually would have been really funny.
Now, we're all proud to be No Man members, but would either of you guys, even if we were, I think we've established, right, none of us are losing our hair, right?
No.
Correct.
Okay. Now, if we were, would we ever, or are we of the mind of Al or Steve, would we ever join the Bald American Dudes, or BAD?
I would join a hat club. We would just wear hats.
Yeah, I just would wear more bandanas, more hats, you know, shave my head, whatever.
Yeah, I would not go join a club for men with no hair. One, that seems weird, and two, I now believe that Steve would really easily be convinced to join a cult.
He totally would too.
Like, it did not take him much to join this, and he gets behind things that I just question, like the whole getting rid of pennies things. Like, that was the whole thing. They show he gets behind some really weird things sometimes. And that's hard for me to say about Steve, but that was weird.
Yeah, if you're losing your hair, why join this? Why not just wear a clapping hat?
Oh my God, I'm going to murder you, Alex. Where's Alex? Where's that? Where's Al's bat? I'm going to make sure you never talk about this hat again. I will beat it until it's out of your memory. I will find a way to delete that episode from your DVD sets. You will never, ever again visit or Matt or that football stadium ever again.
Whatever, fine. I won't look at Kelly's phone number. I won't do anything alluding to that episode ever again.
Never talk about that thing again.
I'll never see another girl in a wet sweatshirt, nothing.
Gee, you look good in a hat, Steve.
Oh, hey, Steve. Stupid hat. Let me see your head. It's a graveyard. Me?
A ghost town.
We have to face it, Steve. The stuff isn't working. Tastes good, but doesn't work. And we have to learn to live with it. These are our heads.
Al, I can't bear this burden alone. Listen, I've heard there's help available for guys like us, but I need to borrow your shoe store.
For what?
Now, yeah, these are a bunch of insecure guys. I mean, like, why would you ever spend your time... Like, Alcoholic Anonymous is for people who need serious help, and actually there's a road to... there's a light at the end of the tunnel here. Like, the only light is when these guys lean forward. Because, like, what is the point of joining this group? What do you hope to accomplish? Feeling better about your hair loss? Like, seriously, dude?
And here's the thing, like, when they were doing before the main guy started talking, I 100% thought this was going to be a bunch of people sharing how to fix the problem, how to get more hair.
Right.
You know, what hats work, what toupees work. No, it then turns into them being proud that they're going bald. And I was like, this took a whole different turn, but I guess that makes more sense with them being bald Americans.
Right, but why not be productive and find solutions to this? Like, clearly it's on your mind, no pun intended.
Accepting that they're going to lose their hair, and now they've got to convince us that's okay.
Right, right. We're wrong. They're more aerodynamic, and they're more sophisticated.
At what point does being aerodynamic matter while having sex? Not even in the Mile High Club does that matter.
Hi, I'm Murray, and I'm bald. Hi, Murray. Hi, guys. We will now bring this meeting of bald American dudes to order. Can we please bring in our newest brothers, Brother Al and Brother Steve?
I don't like this. It's like the day I get married.
Hi, Steve. Hi, Al.
Can I please have my blindfold back?
Right now, I'd like to turn the meeting over to Brother Lance.
Hi, I'm Lance, and I'm bald.
No kidding.
Hair. How can we stop it? Now, I admit that at one time man might have needed hair, like in prehistoric times when very large birds flew overhead and hats hadn't been invented. But times have changed. The point is, the bald are more evolved, more intelligent, and more sophisticated. So the next time a hairy child comes up and says, "Hey, let me rub your head for luck," you just tell that child, "That's not what your mother rubbed."
The only good thing he said is when a kid comes up to ask to rub your head for luck, you tell him that's not what your mother rubbed, which I was dying because I was like, mom jokes are the best jokes in the world.
Terry Ricolta was like, that is enough.
My child would never say that about me.
Honey, what he's referring to is
my belly when I was pregnant.
Yeah, my belly when I was pregnant with you, honey. Yeah, so now when Al and Steve walk into this room with a blindfold, can you explain why this would happen? Like, what's the big reveal here exactly?
Well, yeah, it makes no sense. They know where it is. They hosted it.
It's their shoe store, right?
You couldn't host that in a living room? Or were you just trying to hide it from the... I guess he was trying to hide it, but they know how to get there. It's not like it's a secret location. And they had to come in and let people in, so wouldn't they have seen them then, or at least most of them?
Yeah, were they all wearing hats when they walked in?
They had the keys. Like, do they come in ceremonial robes with their hoods up? Like, no. I don't understand.
They're proud of it. Why would they hide their heads?
Like, in what organization do you join where they blindfold you in unless you're going through some kind of initiation?
I don't know, but I'd want my blindfold back. What a great line that is. I love how Al immediately is insulting these guys, and it just gets worse and worse as he keeps opening his mouth. It is just amazing.
So, let's share. Who among us shall be first? Brother Steve.
I'm Steve, and I've been concealing my problem.
Say it!
Say it! Say it!
My baldness. From my wife. I was ashamed. But you have given me the strength to be proud of my hairline, no matter where it may wander across my head. You're the greatest. I love you guys.
Good, Brother Steve. Tell her so she can realize, like thousands of other women have, that bald men are sexier, more virile, and aerodynamic. Let's face it doesn't get better than bald. Remember, a bald head says good in bed. All right, Brother Al. Have you been moved to share?
Sure, I'll share. Let me share this little tidbit with you. You guys are nuts. Attractive, virile, sexy. Women want you. For what? To check their makeup. But you human flashlights have really helped me. When I came here tonight, I thought I was bald. But looking at you guys, I've realized two things. One, I really miss shooting pool.
I always I really miss pool.
Yeah, he goes, I realized two things. One, I really miss shooting pool. That will never not be insanely hilarious.
And two, I'm not bald. Steve's not bald. You guys are bald. Really bald. 100-watt soft white bald. Let me say one more thing. If and when I ever do lose my hair, I still won't be sitting here with you. Because I have something at home that it doesn't care what I look like, accepts me for what I am, and is always there when I need it. My couch.
They have I think those type of baldness is the worst, where it's you have those two side things and the top's just gone.
Ring around the head.
Red from that 70s show. Oh.
It looks like you have some kind of weird communicator earphones on, where the base is around your head and then to the ears and then stops just so you can communicate through that.
If that had ever happened to me, I would just go full bald. I would just shave off my head.
I was actually going to go there. I was going to ask you guys what you would do if you were losing your hair. Now let's break it down. If you were losing your hair like Al, would you keep combing your hair straight back, or would you part it down the middle to cover the side parts that are missing?
I might keep it for a little bit, because I'm okay, well, it still doesn't it doesn't look like I'm worried. As long as I just don't worry about it, then it's fine. It's just the way my hair is. But if it got any worse, I would just shave my head completely.
Okay, so you wouldn't do the Hulk Hogan thing. You wouldn't grow it longer.
No, God no.
What was that called? A skullet?
Oh my God,
Jesus!
Hulk Hogan has a skullet.
Hey, brother. I got some Rogaine for you.
I mean, to be fair, it is a very unique look. Nobody else has that.
That's true. You have more hair on your lip than the top of your head, but okay.
I just want to make it official. I met Hulk Hogan. We had an amazing conversation. He's a great guy.
I've met Hulk Hogan too.
Yeah, we talked about Harley Davidsons the whole time. It was.
I have not. I don't hang out with swingers and racist. Hey, plus Hulk Hogan bangs dudes' wives. I'm not trying to let him near mine.
Dude, I'm gonna send you a balloon with ears on it to make you feel better.
Only if you attach the Hulk Hogan hair to it.
Now, do you guys know that he mentions cavemen needing hair? Now, do you know that the reason, this is like really going sort of off topic, but on topic in a weird way. Do you know why women have hair down there and stuff?
I think that it helps with disease and cleaning, right?
Pretty sure I learned in school that what Justin said is 100% accurate. It might not be what you're going for, but Justin is right.
It helps with disease and cleaning.
Yeah, it helps keep things from getting to the vagina. That's why you have hair there. They teach you that.
Okay, well, Howard Stern felt that's what this.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go to the expert here.
Yeah, well, he is actually. He
on vagina hair. He's an expert on vagina hair.
Well, he said that it was to trap the smell of the women, and that would attract.
That's probably true too.
Yeah, and that would attract the men. Believe it or not.
That's probably partially like it's probably all three of those things.
My only problem with that is pheromones don't come directly out of that. They would come out of her armpits. Also, like the female smell comes out of more than.
Well, think about it. That's why there's armpit hair, and we also shave that.
It's true.
See? So maybe he's right.
You know what? You got me there. I don't have anything to look into that, so.
So
roll over on that one.
Yeah. So he said he just basically degrades these guys. He tells them that how they're ridiculous. This place is depressing, and he just wants to leave. He just walks right out of the meeting. Can you imagine how Steve felt having to sit there?
Dude, but not only that, they're in the store he works at that is closed, and he leaves. They could have stolen stuff. They could have broken stuff. Oh, you're gonna talk trash on us, eh? Well, guess what? We're stealing all your shoes. We're breaking your mannequins. Like, he leaves. He clearly leaves. So I'm guessing Steve maybe has the keys, or he's still. I don't know.
Right. Well, I could picture that guy Lance wearing high heels. Actually.
Yeah. Does he work at a certain store?
Well, let's talk about some of these guys. So the guy Lance, he's the white guy, because the black guy is Murray, right. And the white guy is Lance. So real quick, Lance, the guy who tells the whole story about the kid who burned the guy's hair in Bermuda or wherever it was. His name is Graham Jarvis, and he's a working, well, he's not, he's dead now, but he was a working actor. He was in Misery, Guiding Light, What's Up, Doc? Nothing like amazing, but if you look at some pictures of him, he looks like he was in Star Trek. Here he is, Star Trek: The Next Generation. He was Klim Dokachin or something like that. So, and he was in Tales from the Crypt. He was actually in a lot of stuff, and I remember him. He was in I remembered him from Misery. That's where I recognized him. He died on April 16th, 2003 at 72 years old. And the guy who, I guess, is the president of this his real name is Henry Sanders. And he's famous for Whiplash as recent as 2014, believe it or not. He was in Rocky Balboa. His name was Martin. I guess he was helping Rocky train with Duke. And he was in Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. And that was like his big thing in his life. And it's funny because he was in this movie, a movie called No Man's Land. And No Ma'am and all that stuff. No Ma'am's Land. So that's weird that he was in that. So, and then the one chick we didn't mention, one of the two blondes that walked in. The one girl, I guess the one who says less, has no acting credits on Earth besides Married with Children. But the one who gave most of the lines, her name is Teresa Cablin.
There's no A on that. It's just Therese.
Well, see, I was going to say Therese, but then I thought it might be wrong because nobody ever says Therese.
Yeah, but there's no A on there for it to be Teresa.
Or Teresa.
Maybe they just... I like Teresa. Let's go with that.
Teresa Cablin. And she's known for Encino Man, Canis Man, Pronto, and Baywatch.
And a bunch of other men.
Encino Man. I used to watch it all the time as a kid.
Yeah, she was in Dream On, the TV show on HBO that always had naked girls. So we were hoping she was on the episode Nightmare on Bleecker Street. That's a street in New York. We were hoping that she would.
I wonder if that's what got her into Nightmare on Elm Street.
Was she on Nightmare on Elm Street?
No, Nightmare on Owl Street.
Oh. Wow, look at you dropping that reference. She was in that movie A League of Their Own, so she made a little bit of money in acting, and she hasn't acted since '97, so she obviously moved on to something else. But yeah, that's and the other girl who didn't really speak all that much her name is Kay Wolf. She's really not a working actress all that much. So, what do you think of Al's end statement to these guys in this meeting that he doesn't care how bald he gets because to sum it up, he always has his couch. Now, didn't you think he was going to say television at least?
I did. I actually was like, I know he's not going to say peg. Like, this joke is set up to not say peg.
Right.
I was like, but I thought he was going to say television.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I thought 100% we were about to hear about a television.
Yeah, instead we heard about a couch. It seems to me that Al wouldn't care what he was sitting in as long as he had his TV.
I guess couch just flowed better, or because we always see him on the couch, we, the audience, will...
You know what? I think that was dumbed down for us for that reason. I think they dumbed that joke down for us, because we would not relate the fact that when he's sitting on the couch, he's watching TV? You don't think we realize that?
Just damn.
Like, what else is he doing there? Right? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think you're 100% right.
Yeah, they dumbed it down for us. Because, Al sits on the couch. Don't think about what he does when he's sitting there. Because you guys couldn't handle that much information. Yeah, that was weird.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
If you're concerned about your thinning hair, call Hair Club for Men and receive our free brochure. Learn how Hair Club's non-surgical polyfuse method gives you the freedom you've always wanted. Your new hair will look and feel like a part of you.
I did not ask to lose my hair, and for a long period of time I thought that I would have no choice. And with Hair Club, I do have that choice. I like that.
No matter what sport or activity you enjoy, you'll feel secure and confident with your new hair.
I was uncomfortable when I didn't have hair. Now that I have a full head of hair, people that haven't seen me in a while, they don't even know I had anything done. It's like totally natural to them.
Now I can walk down the street and not worry about the person standing right behind me or standing on, waiting at a traffic light and the people are piling up behind me, and I think that everyone's looking down at the top of my head.
So call for our free brochure to view our various hairstyles and receive information about Hair Club's non-surgical polyfuse method.
And remember, I'm not only the Hair Club president, but I'm also a client.
So the big grand ending is that Steve is still sitting in the shoe store after the meeting is over. Al embarrassed the crap out of him. He had to sit there and endure the next hour or whatever after his buddy, who he's friends with, insulted everybody in the room. And Marcy says, what are you doing here, blah, blah.
Steve, Al told me I'd find you here. What's wrong?
I was just sitting here trying to decide how to tell you something terrible.
What is it, Steve?
I'm going bald.
And?
That's it. That's the news.
Honey, I've known that since the day you got down on your knees to propose.
So that was another, stretch joke that we thought was a little weird. Even though they only been married, he only proposed 4 years ago, maybe, tops?
Yeah, but I think this joke helps with the argument that some of the jokes are just a little too stretched. Though I do think there is that one scene when they're sitting in the meeting that you can almost see a tiny bald spot on the back of his head.
Dude, I kept convincing myself that
it was there?
Yeah.
That's why I was like, I think I see something. This is on a 4K TV. I should be able to see something here. And I was like, I think you can see something tiny, but I might have just been trying to trick myself at that point.
Right. We're trying to buy into this.
I kept looking at it too. I was like, huh. Oh, by the way, another one of this disc must be a bad disc or something, because this episode froze up on me. I had to go seek it out via other means.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
You must have got a bad disc then, because mine, yeah. I had no issues.
Yeah, I just think that it's this disc. You know, they aren't packaged the great. The greatest.
No, I threw away my package. All of mine are in a disc holder, like a CD case.
Well, I'll just say this: David Garrison is still not bald, so.
Right.
Yeah, I know. It's funny you say that. I was actually going to talk about that. Wow. Yeah, he is not bald.
Mm-hmm.
Even to this day.
A man like that would never go bald.
So they were totally just...
He actually has pretty nice hair for being whatever.
Like
50,
60?
that's right, he does. 65.
65, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you still think I'm attractive?
Oh, Steve. Of course I do. Anybody would.
Well, somebody doesn't. Look what somebody put on my desk.
I put that there.
Why?
Because it was your turn to shop, and tuna 3 for $1.49 is a great deal.
So how fooled were you guys by the big swerve that Marcy came in and told Steve that she's the one who left that note on his desk at work, and it really was for the tuna fish on sale as opposed to the minoxidil?
No, I figured it would be about the tuna.
I didn't expect it. No, I didn't expect it to be about the tuna or that she left it.
The whole episode was for nothing. It just showed you that we did all this for nothing. It was just, she was just trying to tell me that tuna was on sale. And it's almost like a message on life. Like, we think much more of a lot of things than no.
Oh yeah, that's definitely the intent, for sure. But at the end of the day, like, that doesn't mean that he's not going bald.
No.
Which is still kind of sucky. It just means that, like, hey, maybe you shouldn't care about that so much.
Right. And it's funny, I've seen this episode so many times, and I still, not that I keep getting swerved, I'm saying that it still impacts me. Like, her delivery and all that kind of stuff, it still hits me the same way. Like, I feel what Steve feels when he gets this information. So, bravo to you guys, you know. All right, we'll be right back with the ratings.
No Ma'am will be right back to wrap up this week's review. Be sure to join their Facebook group page for all the podcast news and updates. Just type in www.facebook.com/groups/marriedwithchildrenpodcast. Be sure to subscribe to them on iTunes and please leave a review telling them what you think of the show. To subscribe to their YouTube channel, just go to channels and search up Married with Children Podcast. You can email them at marriedwchildrenpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for checking out this review. Now the guys are going to give their final thoughts and ratings of this week's episode.
All right, guys, it is rating time. How many cans of tuna for $1.49 are we giving out of 5 for Bald and the Beautiful? Justin, wow, I can't believe we're finally going to hear a live response from you after so long.
All right, so this episode, I enjoyed it. Like, Jerry kind of pointed out some of the things that I think we all kind of had a little bit issues with, was the fact that, you know, clearly Steve isn't bald, and if you were going to pick somebody who was going bald, it would be Al. So some of those jokes, if taken literally, don't really work. Then we throw in the paranoia angle. Well, does that make more sense? Kind of, yes, a little bit, but some not the whole time. So, I mean, it is like there is some problems with the writing a little bit in this type of episode, but I'm still under the like confliction that it might be one of those damn things in sitcoms where it's like they just expect you to believe what they're saying as a plot point for the episode and not actually show you anything. Who knows? We'd have to talk to a writer. But yeah, I still thought this was a pretty solid episode. And honestly, like, even though like I knew that it was about the tuna, you know, Alex pointing it out and saying, like, you know, it's a life lessons, like I give that props, because there hasn't been a whole lot of that thus far, you know, here and there. So I do give that props, and I'm gonna come in at a 3.5 out of 5 $1.49 cans of tuna.
All right, Jerry, how many cans of tuna for $1.49 out of 5 are you giving this episode?
So this episode flew by watching it. It was faster than Al in the bedroom. Like, by the time it was over, I felt like it had only been 15 minutes. And I need to dig deeper into if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But for this episode, it was certainly a good thing because a lot of the things that I while watching it did not pop into my head until we started discussing it as to things that could have been an issue. And I think its speed helped that. It did not leave you a lot of time to think about it. It barely left you enough time to check the back of Steve's head. And so even with some of the flaws in it, the fact that it does kind of have a message that, hey, it doesn't matter what you think about how you look, it matters what your significant other does. If they don't care, you're fine. Go sit on the couch and watch TV. You're golden. So because of that, I'm actually going 4 out of 5. I would never see myself going, no, I'm not watching this episode. If it's on, I'm watching it because it's super fast. It's everything I want in a Married with Children episode. 4 out of 5 for me. Yeah, 100%. I'm not eating the tuna, but I'll buy 4.
You'll buy them. Well, yeah. This episode, the first thought that came to mind when it ended is that this is a classic 80s TV sitcom. Like, this is everything that an 80s TV sitcom should be. It's not trying too hard to give you a grand episode, and it's not, there's no disappointment in the entertainment level. It's the complete middle of the road, and I mean that in the best of ways, episode where, nothing has changed, and to cap that, the whole point of the episode at the end is to tell you the whole episode was for nothing. It encapsulates itself in that ending theme. So it's so perfect in that way because, every single joke was strong, although, like we said, these glaring omissions, which the biggest one is that Steve really isn't bald. It's so good you could almost forgive it, and you could almost look for something that's not there, and you could convince yourself that it's happening. That's how good this is, and that's how invested, and just the acting here, all the situations they were put in. Al reacting to the match, and the bottoms up, and the dog food, and Al buying into this craziness, and 2 seconds ago he wasn't even hearing them. He was like, yeah, whatever, dude. And all of a sudden, these 2 hot chicks walk in, and it's never a bad thing to have hot girls. I know we should rate the girls. We haven't really rated girls in a while. That's weird. But if I were to rate the girls, believe it or not, they're not really my type, but I think they're still hot. And they seem older, too. They don't look like hot young girls or anything.
Why does every 80s chick in these shows look like they do coke?
They probably all did. They're in Hollywood. I don't know. It's a prevalent thing at that time. But, yeah, the whole thing, there's not a dull moment. And, yeah, for me, too, it flew by. And there's nothing I dislike about this episode. I can't say, oddly enough, I still can't say I love it. But I am in between really liking it and loving it. So I will give it a 4.5 out of 5. It's just... it's a golden episode that never fails, and it's a great topic, and a lot came out of it. Look how long this episode is. This is one of our longest episodes. So
even longer than the Elvis one?
No, nothing will ever top the Elvis episode. We went all out there. Now
there was just too much information for that episode.
Yeah, talking about an iconic legend in music and trying to get the same amount of material out of Hair is a difficult task, but we did what we could. So, guys, tune in next week as we review The Gypsy Cried. After a party, fortune teller predicts luck for everyone else but doom for Marcy. She insists the Bundys fly with her on a business trip where she confronts her rude boss.
Alrighty then. That's certainly a thing.
I got news for you. This is a great episode. Don't worry, buddy.
Like Earth Angel great?
No. Solid as a rock. And I think Earth Angel was, but okay. No, you will like this too.